A colony of massive sculptures was visible in the distance, their tall forms scraping against the sky. Weiss and Heza had never seen such a sight, and their eyes have widened as I keep going to say Biden because Weiss. I didn't know if you'd noticed it earlier, but I did actually say that.
I didn't even.
A lot of people did.
Oh.
And their eyes widened as they tried to take it in.
Buildings must be huge if we can see them from this far away.
Heza's talking this time. What the fuck?
What do you think, Weiss?
As Weiss considered his answer, the sun beat down on them with renewed ferocity.
They are some manner of mirage.
He said,
A fucking easy one.
"No, under this heat, a mirage or two would hardly be an unexpected sight." Heza nodded and wiped the sweat off his brow, leaving a trail of sand in its place. He thought he'd never been so thirsty. The ancient road on which they walked was black and cracked with age. Here and there, thin wisps of grass pushed up through the rocky surface, as if defying those who had laid this material down over their home. The heat reflecting from the road made Heza lightheaded. His feet hurting, he crouched down to rest. "I don't know how much longer I can do this. Is someone playing a joke on us or what?"
Is this the setting of Nier Automata?
Maybe.
Like, it literally is.
Maybe.
The fuck?
Maybe.
Is this in the original game?
I don't know. The complaining had already begun.
Fuck.
Weiss tried not to let his eyes roll too much. "A joke," he said. "No, no joke. This road leads to the city of art. Perhaps the path itself is simply some manner of grand artistic work. You don't sound very sure of yourself there. Perhaps not, but thinking of it in this way might make it easier for you to bear." As I glanced at Weiss' grinning face, shook his head and resumed walking.
Pocky.
Hey, Pocky.
Or reading.
So much reading. As time passed, Heza's feet grew more painful, and his throat drier than he thought possible. He tried not to look further than the next step ahead, because the bright sunlight made him hesitant to trust his own senses. "We are definitely getting closer," said Weiss in an effort to cheer up his companion. "Yes, this much is certain." Encouraged, Heza lifted his gaze. Suddenly, he stopped walking, choosing instead to stand in the middle of the road, with his mouth and eyes wide open and his finger pointing in the distance. "Water!" he cried. "It's water!" "Water?" asked Weiss. "Preposterous. I don't see any water." "Over there, just ahead of us.
Oh.
Look, the sun is reflecting off it."
An actual mirage.
Yeah. Without waiting for a response, Heza sprang to life and bounded towards the sight. What in the... There was no water. There was nothing but sand in every direction. Heza closed his eyes and sighed as Weiss floated up behind him and chuckled softly. "I believe this is known as a mirage," he said. "Many a desert traveler has spoken of such things." Heza shook his head, bewildered. Suddenly, he pointed off in the distance, his eyes wide once more. "Wait, there it is! I just missed it! Look, it's right there!"
What?
Heza sprinted off again, leaving Weiss with no choice but to follow. After a few minutes of running, Heza came to a halt. "I could have sworn it was right around here." Confused, he put his hands up to his eyes and rubbed them vigorously. As soon as he stopped, he noticed a blue, shimmering pool of clear water just over the next rise. With a shout, he bounded off in search of it. The chase continued for nearly an hour, until an exasperated Weiss finally floated up to Heza and struck him in the face with his cover. "Enough, you blithering idiot. Stop this at once. There is no water here." Heza's face clouded. "There isn't?" "There is not, and perhaps next time you will listen to me when I tell you as such." Weiss paused for a moment, then continued speaking in a slightly kinder tone. "However, I suppose this mad chase was not altogether wasted. It seems we have arrived in the city of art." Heza looked up. Stretched out before him was a row of impossibly tall sculptures. Their journey was at an end. "They're huge!" cried Heza, completely forgetting the heat and pain of the last few hours. "I've never seen anything so big." Shut up. Each sculpture was formed from roughly the same shape, a tall rectangle that stretched up toward the sky. But that is where the similarities ended. Most were covered with panes of glass that reflected light in 1,000 directions, while others seemed to be nothing but frames of steel. Oh my god, it's fucking skyscrapers, isn't it?
Yes, that's what I was saying. It's like actually near Automata.
Some had tall spires on their tops, while others possessed triangular caps. What kind of city is this? Said Heza. Where are the people? Where are the houses? Perhaps the land is intended exclusively for artistic use.
What?
The debate continued as they made their way through the city. Miracles of artistry were everywhere. Great iron crates with wheels sat silent on steel rails. Beautifully carved works with lights of red, amber and green diangled over every street. As they moved away from the massive sculptures, they found a great array of smaller ones. Some were covered in glass or brick, but many were composed of materials they had never before encountered. The sheer variety of colours and styles was staggering. Unable to find a theme or purpose to the abstract works around them, Heza and Weiss eventually fell silent. On the outskirts of the city, they discovered 3 sculptures in the shape of humans. Heza uttered a sigh of relief as he approached them. Finally, I was getting tired of modern art.
What?
The 3 statues were indistinguishable except for a single word chiseled into their right arms. One read Alpha, one read Beta, and the final one read Gamma. As Heza moved to touch the nearest statue, a bird flew from the top of one of the sculptures, alighting one of the statue's shoulders. It emitted a brief, beautiful song that took the form of words. Only one form is real, the others are false. The real form will always speak the truth. The false ones will only speak lies. With that, the bird departed. As if on cue, the 3 statues shuddered to life, acquiring colour and form as they began to breathe. Hey, look at that, said Heza. They're alive. The triplets bowed low before Heza. Please, said Alpha, you have to get me out of this nightmare. I am real. Stop lying, said Beta. He turned to Heza and threw his hands up in the air. Alpha's a fake. You know I'm the real one. What a load of crap, said Gamma. Beta is a fake. Everyone knows I'm the real one around here. Their respective pleas given, the 3 statues returned to their frozen state as silence once again enveloped the city. When you consider all of their statements, only one of them could be the real thing, said Weiss. Heza furrowed his eyebrows and considered his answers. Only one form is real, the others are false. The real form will always speak the truth. The false ones will only speak lies. Shit.
Oh, lordy. I hate these.
Yeah.
I actually hate these.
So, Alpha said they were real. Beta
Yeah.
said Alpha was false, and Gamma said Beta was false.
Yes.
Okay.
I know it's a popular riddle, but I suck
hate it.
at it. So, okay,
Um.
Alpha can't be the true one.
Yes.
Because if he's true, then then Gamma is telling the truth when he says that the second one is false.
Mm-hmm.
So Alpha's false.
Yes.
Okay. Beta says Alpha's
False.
false, which is true.
Mm-hmm.
And Gamma is saying that Beta is false, which is
Which is a lie.
It's just a lie. It's Beta. Oh.
The real one is Beta. Though Heather's voice betrayed a notable lack of confidence, he was relieved to see Weiss nodding at him. If Alpha were telling the truth, began Weiss in the dry tones of a lecturer, Beta and Gamma would be fakes. But in that case, Gamma's claim that Beta is fake would be the truth, even though Gamma is a liar, therefore that theory crumbles. Now, let us presume that Gamma spoke the truth. That makes Alpha and Beta liars in this situation. However, Beta is calling Alpha a liar, which would leave us with 2 statues telling the truth. Finally, let us assume that Beta is telling the truth. If so, Alpha and Gamma's lies would make sense. Therefore, Beta must be real. As Weiss finished his explanation, Alpha and Gamma crumbled soundlessly into dust, while Beta sprang to life once more.
Thank fucking God.
Congratulations, villager, said Weiss in a cheerful voice. The time to awaken has arrived. Thank you for saving me, cried the villager. He dropped to his knees and bowed his head as low as it could go before an uncomfortable Heza pulled him to his feet. Why did you have a dream like this? Asked Weiss. Have you been to this city before? The villager slowly looked around at the bizarre objects and sculptures that dotted the landscape, then shook his head. I don't think so. I mean, it's impossible, right? There's no way I could have ever been to a place like this. But at the same time, I feel like I've seen it before. Deja vu, muttered Heza, just like the mayor. The vague sense of unease that struck Heza during the mayor's dream spread once more through his mind.
That was rough.
I have
The
positive
book is
events
Grimoire Voice.
place before.
The floating book.
Okay, that's enough.